Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjanaya. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjanaya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjanaya. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjanaya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayanta Pravishtam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Stotara Satasya Srimad Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayanta Pravishtam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Stotara Satasya Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasdev Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Harir Naam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Appearance Day of Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nasta Prayesha Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, Chapter 18, Text 13. Harir hi Shakshad Bhagavan Sharirinam Atmaja Shanam Iva Toyamipsitam Hidvamaham stam yadi sajjate grihe Tada mahatvam vyasa dampatinam Tada mahatvam vyasa dampatinam Haridhi Shakshad Bhagavam Sharirinam Atmaja Shanam Iva Toyapsitam Hidvamaham stam yadi sajjate grihe Tada mahatvam vayasa dampatinam. Hariri Shakshad Bhagavan Sharirinam Atma Jashanam Ivatoyamipsitam Idvamaham stam yadi sajjate grihe Tada mahatvam vayasa dampatinam. Hari, the Lord, He, certainly, Sakshad, directly, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sharirinam, of all living entities who have accepted material bodies, Atma, the life and soul, Jashanam, of the aquatics, Eva, like, Toyam, the vast water, Ipsitam, is desired. Hitva, giving up. Mahan, a great personality. Tam, him. Yadi, if. Sajjate, becomes attached. Grihe, to household life. Tada, at that time. Mahatvam, greatness. Vayasa, by age. Dampatinam, of the husband and wife. Just as aquatics always desire to remain in the vast mass of water, all conditioned living entities naturally desire to remain in the vast existence of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, if someone very great by material calculations fails to take shelter of the Supreme Soul, but instead becomes attached to material household life, his greatness is like that of a young low-class couple. One who's too attached to material life loses all good spiritual qualities. Purport. Although crocodiles are very fierce animals, they are powerless when they venture out of the water into the land. When they are out of the water, they cannot exhibit their original power. Similarly, the all-pervading Super Soul, Paramatma, is the source of all living entities, and all living entities are part and parcel of Him. When the living entity remains in contact with the all-pervading Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead, he manifests his spiritual power, exactly as the crocodile exhibits its strength in the water. In other words, the greatness of the living entity can be perceived when he is in the spiritual world, engaged in spiritual activities. Many householders, although well educated in the knowledge of the Vedas, become attached to family life. They are compared herein to crocodiles out of water, for they are devoid of all spiritual strength. Their greatness is like that of a young husband and wife who, though uneducated, praise one another and become attracted to their own temporary beauty. This kind of greatness is appreciated only by low-class men with no qualifications. Everyone should therefore seek the shelter of the Supreme Soul, the source of all living entities. No one should waste his time in the so-called happiness of materialistic household life. In the Vedic civilization, this type of crippled life is allowed only until one's 50th year, when one must give up family life and enter either the order of Vanaprastha, independent retired life for cultivation of spiritual knowledge, or sannyasa, the renounced order in which one completely takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opens my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble respect and obeisance unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Just as aquatics always desire to remain in the vast mass of water, all conditioned living entities naturally desire to remain in the vast existence of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, if someone very great by material calculations fails to take shelter of the Supreme Soul, but instead becomes attached to material household life, his greatness is like that of a young, low-class couple. One who is too attached to material life loses all good spiritual qualities. Very nice comparison. Aquatics feel very comfortable, very happy in the vast mass of water, either rivers or oceans. No? because that's their natural habitat. If you take a fish out of the water, it will soon die. Can't breathe outside the water. No matter how many nice facility you may give the fish, nice chair, beautiful girl next sitting, some nice drinks, he will be desperate to go back to the water. So by nature, we are all spiritual living entities, eternally blissful, full of knowledge. But because we accepted material bodies, we are like the fish outside the water. Of course, the fish doesn't survive much time outside the water, but we humans don't survive for much longer. I mean, 70, 80 years, at most 100. It's like a slow dying fish. That's the reality. Because we are out of our spiritual atmosphere. I mean, the natural situation of all living entities to be in the spiritual world, and they have all spiritual powers serving the Krishna very happily, very blissfully. Full freedom to go anywhere, to do any service for the pleasure of the Lord. Imagine, in this world, conditioned living entities, they have done, big buildings, big airplanes, and flying out of the Earth planet, trying to reach other planet. Although it was a dream only, but by mechanical process not achieved. Only by merits, when the Vedas, they give explanation. If somebody wants to go to a higher planet, what he has to do? He has to worship the demigod who lives in that planet. You have to do austerity, you have to do yagyas with that goal in mind. But Krishna doesn't advise that. He said, Abrahma bhuvanalloka punaravarti narjuna mamupetyatu kauntiya punarjamma navidyate. From the highest planet of Brahma down to the lowest planet Patala, all a place of suffering and birth and death. But those who come to me, they don't have to take another birth in this world. So Krishna's offer is much more attractive, more interesting, because he's offering a permanent solutions to all problems of life. People want to be free of problems. They want to enjoy life. They want to be happy, naturally. It's like the fish wants to be in the water. He feels happy. But because we are out of our spiritual atmosphere, which is the atmosphere of the spiritual world, we're slowly dying in this material existence. And we don't find solutions because we think that only material solutions can solve our problems. That's why people strive for economic development. They think if I get enough money, I will be happy. But we see a lot of people with a lot of money and very unhappy. So then conclusions that money can't give you happiness, can give you some material facilities, some comforts, some little insignificant security, so-called security, because everybody has to die, no matter how rich somebody is. Prabhupada mentioned a story of a man who was offered the magazine Back to Godhead, and he was a very rich man. And he said, no, I'm not interested. But he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in doctors and medicine and finally died. He could not enjoy his money. Others will enjoy it. He had to do many sinful activities to earn this money, who knows how many, Like Colonel Sanders, he started this business of selling, fried chicken. And Prabhupada said he had to take birth as many chicken he have killed. But since his grandson is devotee, then Krishna will take that into consideration, undoubtedly. he will diminish that for sure, when you have to become a nice devotee then. So Krishna can help your grandfather faster. Yes, Hare Krishna. Anyway, so it's a fact, we have to understand material life is all about sense gratification, how to enjoy the material senses. That's all about. So, and sense gratification gives a little pleasure, to the senses. So the person becomes attached to it. Because, remember, I felt some pleasure doing this, having sex, drinking, dancing, this, that. So the mind becomes attached to it. And they can't give it up. And that attachment, that little pleasure they may feel is their greatest enemy. Because the soul needs a spiritual pleasure. No amount of material pleasure can satisfy the soul. So that's why so many people, no matter how beautiful or rich or powerful they may be, they always are frustrated at the end. They can't satisfy all their desires. It's impossible. And the mind is the capital of all worldly desires. So from the mind comes all those desires. The mind have been with us for many lifetimes. Since we came to the material world, it's the same mind. We changed body, but the mind is the same. So the mind carries all these ideas of experience, of material enjoyment, and the mind becomes attached to it. So now we're trying to become devotees and give up sense gratification. The mind has become rebellious. No. Why should I give up sense gratification? It's nice, I'm feeling pleasure. What's wrong with it? The wrong with it is you become attached to it. Then you can't give it up. And because you can't give it up, you have to take birth again and again and again. Once a monkey entered the house to look for food. So he found a jar full of grapes. But the mouth of the jar was small. So some or other he squeezed his hand inside the jar and grabbed the grapes. But he could not take his hand out because his hand was full of grapes. But he will not let the grapes go. Because once he catches them, he become attached to them. See, so that's the situation in the material world. Become attached to it, can't really enjoy it, Because how much the body can, lives or healthy, or gradually all power is lost of the body. But the mind is still attracted, You see old people sitting in the park. Oh, when I was young, I had so many girlfriends. I was enjoying so much. They're lamenting. All day they talk to each other lamenting. And if a young, beautiful girl passed through, all of them, their eyes go all the way. Once King Akbar asked his minister Birbal, until what age the man becomes free of lust? Birbal said, he can have lust even at the time of death. Said, how is that possible? Until the end of his life. How is that possible? You have to show me, practically how this is real. Okay, I will do. So one day, Birbal asked the king, hurry, we have to go to the Delhi hospital. Old man died. But bring your beautiful daughter, the princess, 15 years old, the princess. Bring it with you. So they went to the hospital, and Birbal said, let the girl wait outside. We enter first. So both of them entered, and the man lamenting, I'm dying, I'm suffering, like that. He didn't even look at the king, he didn't care, And then Birbal told the king, ask your daughter in. And as soon as the girl came in, the sound of the bells, ankle bells, and immediately the man looked at her. He could not take his eyes out of her. She will move the side, he will go like that. He will move the other side, he will go like that. So then the King Akbar understood that it's true. The attraction is still there. Even at the time of dying, the attraction can be there. And of course, if a man dies thinking of a woman, next life he will become a woman. And if the woman dies thinking of a man, she will become a man next life. Those bodily changes are going on, sometime in the body of a man, woman, but it's all illusion. We are not men, we are not women. We are eternal spirit soul. We are part of Krishna. There is one amazing history. I don't like to say story, but it sounds like a made up things, isn't it? History in the Bhagavatam of a prince. His father wanted a boy, and his wife wanted a girl. So the wife was pregnant. And the king asked a sage to do yagya so the son will be born. He wanted to have an heir to the kingdom, naturally. But at the time of yagya, the queen went and whispered in the ear of the sage, I want a girl. So the sage got confused and chanted the mantra for them to have a girl. So the girl was born. But the king was unsatisfied. And he demanded from the sage, I wanted a son. Why you did this? Well, your wife, we have to do something about it. Okay. So the sage was so powerful that he chanted mantras and asked the blessing of Lord Shiva, and the girl became a boy. And then the act, So the king was happy. The wife was not happy, but the king was happy. Anyway, when the prince grew up, he had other princesses from other kingdoms. They would go hunting. And one day in the forest, they found a forest. They haven't been there before. So let's find out what out in this forest, maybe good for hunting. And when they all entered that forest, all of them became women. Even the horses became what you call mare, isn't it? So they were completely confused. Why this happened to us? Why we? And the reason behind it was that forest, Lord Shiva used to visit that forest along with his wife Parvati, And one day they were in an intimate situation, husband and wife, and some sages came. Some sages came and announced, and Parvati felt, uncomfortable. She immediately covered herself, and Shiva also, and all this. And Shiva saw that his wife was very, disturbed at what happened. So to pacify her, he told her, from now on, any man, who entered this forest will become a woman. So because of Lord Shiva's curse on that forest, all the princes became princesses, became females. So they didn't know what to do. So the main prince we're talking about, he went to another kingdom, and he met another, king, and he had a son, a prince, became enamored by her and married her. So when the other king found out that the son became a daughter, he was very disturbed. So he called the sage who did the yagya to help him get a son. He said, So this happened. You have to do something about it. I want my son back. I need a heir to the kingdom. Okay, let me worship Lord Shiva, see what he can do for me, because it's not in my powers. I'm depending on Lord Shiva's mercy. Oh, please do your best, So the sage did a lot of tapasya and meditation on Lord Shiva and chanted the mantras and everything. Finally, Lord Shiva appeared to him. So he asked the blessing. Lord Shiva was reluctant. He said, well, I'm sorry. I promised my wife that whoever entered that forest become a woman. So I can't contradict what I told my wife. But since you are my dear devotee, and you are asking me, we can come to some arrangement. The arrangement will be that he will be for 6 months man and for 6 months women. Half, I can't go through all of it, so you have to, that's what I can do for you. So the sage thought, better something than nothing. So he agreed. He agreed to it. So the king wasn't actually too happy either, but he said, well, at least I have 6 months as a king, So the amazing thing was, as a man, he had wife and children, and as a woman, he also have children. After 6 months, his body will change by itself. Amazing, isn't it? It's a real history from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this gives us, and he shared his kingdom with the sons as a man and the sons as a woman. He gave to both of them the share of the kingdom. So, to say, that gives us a real view of the illusion of believing ourselves to be men or women. We've been in different bodies and many lifetimes, changing from one form to another. So it's a big illusion. It's a great illusion. So if somebody, no matter how much knowledgeable in the Vedas and well educated, but becomes very attached to household life, then materially may be great, but not spiritually great. So Prabhupada explained that crocodiles are very powerful in the water. But when they come out of the water, they can't catch them easily. Isn't? Not in the water. In the water, they're very fierce. This reminds me one pastime of Prabhupada in Venezuela. By the way, yesterday, Siddhanta Prabhu interviewed me for Prabhupada's memories, and we took 90 minutes to speak about Prabhupada in South America. His pastimes and teaching there. I wrote a book about Prabhupada's visit to South America. It's in Spanish, but soon it's going to be published in English. Hopefully. So let's see. Anyway, during Prabhupada's walking in the park, there was a zoo in the park. So Prabhupada was walking through it. And he stopped to see the crocodiles. The crocodiles were swimming, in the water, 2 of them. One of them was standing on the sand like a statue, not moving. So Prabhupada was looking. We surrounded Prabhupada to also watch the crocodile swimming. And one of them stopped, took his head out of the water, looked at Prabhupada and the devotees, and opened his jaws big like that. And Prabhupada spoke to the crocodile. He told him, you have very good arguments to catch, meaning the big tooth. but no opportunity to catch. Prabhupada is a male. He's inviting us. One of you come here, Prabhupada. Who's gonna go? Like that. Prabhupada, great sense of humor also. Anyway, so this also reminds me one pastime of Lord Chaitanya with the crocodile. Not much known. That's in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Today we are celebrating Vrindavan Das Thakur Appearance Day. So let me read something about him. The mother of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur was Sri Narayani Devi. She was the niece of Srivas Pandit. And his Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das described how his mother attained the affectionate fervor of Sri Gaurachandra. Narayani Devi received the entire remnants of Mahaprabhu's meal. Though she was only an insensible child, he bestowed his mercy on her in this way. Also, as a result of this mercy, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, whose life and soul was Sri Gaura Nityananda, took his birth from her womb. You know that once Lord Chaitanya, when he entered the house of Srivas Thakur, Narayani, she was like 5 years old, the mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur, and Lord Chaitanya told her, Narayani, cry out for Krishna. And Narayani was crying, oh Krishna, Krishna, where are you, my Lord? She was crying out of love. He gave her Krishna Prem. And he allowed her to eat all the remnants of his food, Mahaprasad. And because of that mercy, she got a great devotee like Vrindavan Das Thakur, as a son. He hasn't mentioned the name of his father. It is believed that Narayani Devi was married to someone at Kumarahatta. However, while she was still carrying the child in her womb, she was widowed. Being reduced to a condition of poverty by the loss of her husband, she finally accepted shelter in the house of Sri Vasudev Datta Thakur at Mamgachi, where she helped with the housework. Here Vrindavan Das began his studies. In the preface to Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sri Bhakti Sundar Saraswati has written, Narayani Devi raised her child in the home of the father of Sri Malini Devi, where she had accepted shelter. Vrindavan Das was born 4 years after Mahaprabhu took sannyas. When Mahaprabhu disappeared, he couldn't have been more than 20 years old. He was initiated by Sri Nityananda Prabhu and was apparently the last disciple whom Sri Nityananda accepted. He accompanied Sri Janava Mata to the Keturi Maha Mahotsava. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has glorified Vrindavan Das Thakur as the Veda Vyas of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The pastimes of Krishna have been described in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Veda Vyas. Vrindavan Das is the Veda Vyas of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya. He has composed Chaitanya Mangal. He put the name to the book Chaitanya Mangal, but later he changed it to Chaitanya Bhagavat because Lochan Das Thakur wrote a book named Chaitanya Mangal. So to not have the same name, Vrindavan Das Thakur decided to change the name to Chaitanya Bhagavat. So when Krishnadas Kaviraj wrote this comment, he hasn't changed the name of the book yet. Okay. He has composed Chaitanya Mangal, which destroys any inauspiciousness for those who hear it, so that we can understand the glories of Chaitanya Nitai, the essence of the conclusions regarding devotional service as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the limits of the conclusion regarding Krishna Bhakti. He has composed this great literature to uplift mankind. To compose such a work is not conceivable for a human being. Therefore, we can understand that Sri Chaitanya himself is speaking through him. I offer my obeisances tens of millions of times at the lotus feet of that person who has given us such a scripture which can deliver the whole world. Vrindavan Das Thakur Shripad, where his worshipful deities of Shri Shri Gaura Nitai are still residing, is at Denur. Denur can be reached by bus from Navadvip. Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Any comment or questions? Give the mic, please.
What about that pastime of the crocodile?
Oh, so you were paying attention. I was waiting for somebody to remind me to tell the pastime of the crocodile. One day, Mahaprabhu, with his associates, he went from village to village, chanting the holy name, encouraging everyone to take part in the Sankirtan movement. He reached a town along with his associate and sat under the shade of a tree, in a big rock. And one young boy came with a pot of milk offered to Lord Chaitanya. The Lord accepted the offering of the boy, and the boy asked for help. He said, please help us. There is a very fierce crocodile that he attacks people. Nobody can swim in the Ganges because of this crocodile. He have killed not only human, even animals, and animals also. When they go drinking water, they attack them. So please help us, with this crocodile, And while the boy was talking about the crocodile, suddenly the crocodile came out of the water to attack the devotee. All the devotee were jumping on the tree, to save themselves. But Lord Chaitanya, he didn't move. He kept sitting on the rock, and the crocodile came at him, to bite him. And Lord Chaitanya just put his foot on the head of the crocodile, and immediately he became, a person. He said he was a demigod. He was cursed because he made some offense to a great sage. And the sage told him, because he repented and asked forgiveness, they said, okay, when Krishna will come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will deliver you.
I have a comment and a question. When I was 5 years old, I had an experience with crocodiles. They took me to the zoo, and I was in the process of jumping over the fence into the crocodile pit, and my aunt saved me literally by my feet. I was dangling, and I know I came to Earth, to come into this family that you talked about, and then you talked about, I'm not a man, I'm not a girl. I'm kind of confused. Like, did I come here to be a man this time, and should I have been eaten as a or was I a crocodile the last time? I wanted to, because I shouldn't be here. Literally, they closed the zoo in Miami and had to redo everything, all the fences because of me.
Well, that was good. They save other people, other children from being eaten by the crocodiles. We are not men or women, as I said. We are spirit souls. Sometimes we may have the body of a man, sometimes the body of a woman. But the important thing is to save ourselves from this ignorance, this misconception that we are the material bodies. We are eternal servant of Krishna. That's our real identity. So this human form of life, either man or woman, offers the opportunity to become Krishna conscious, to chant the holy name, to become a devotee, and then Krishna will take us back home, back to Godhead, if we surrender to Him. So that's the goal of human life. So don't worry about this body, that body, or this family, that family. The important thing is to use properly our human form of life to achieve a spiritual perfection and go back home, back to Godhead, where we actually belong. This is not our real home, this world. Our home is in the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I just wanted to let you know there is a question pending on the Zoom.
Please do.
Yes, Maharaj. My question is, which one of the 26 qualities of a devotee is the most important?
The most important of the 26 quality of the devotee is that he's always surrendered to Krishna. That's number 12. That's the most important one. Because he's always surrendered to Krishna, he will develop all other good qualities naturally.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you everyone for coming to Bhagavatam class. Tonight we have the Krishna Lounge, and Balaram is traveling today, I guess, to the Sadhu Sangha, along with Mukunda, Haribo. And anybody else? Kanai also going with you? Only the three of you? All right, very good. Have a safe travels. I will see you there. I'm also going there tomorrow. Hare Krishna. I'm come back on Monday and leave on Wednesday to Mexico. We have also celebration there of the 50th anniversary of Prabhupada's first visit to Mexico. We're going to celebrate it there with all the Mexican Prabhupada disciples, and will be nice. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Well, a lot. Maybe 100 or less.